Leeds International School, Form 4, First Term, English Literature, an Inspector Course, Act 1, page 5 to 9. An Inspector Course by J.B. Priestley. Before talking about the points I have taken to talk with you all, to share with you all today, let's have a look of the social and historical background of this Inspector Course. This writer J.B. Priestley, he was a socialist. Who was he? He was a socialist. When the play was written after World War II in 1945, there was no form, There was no form of welfare from the government to help the poor. This writer, J.B. Priestley, he believed in socialism. It means the political idea based on common ownership and that we should all look after one another without being selfish. When we talk about this drama and Inspector Course here, it's based on a suicide case of a girl called Eva Smith, and the people, those who have involved for that. There's a family called Berlin family. Keep that is in your mind, Got it put there? Okay, now let's move the points. When we talk about that character, Mr. Berlin, he represents greedy businessmen, He represents greedy businessmen who only care for themselves. Priestley uses him, Priestley uses this character, Mr. Berlin, to show the audience that evil smiths, all the evil smiths of this world will continue to suffer if people like whom Berlin remain in positions of power. Okay? Right. Let's move to the objectives of the lesson. You will be able to know about the writer, understand about the background of the drama, learn about the attitudes of the characters, learn how dramatic irony well used in play. On this slide, it's shown some basic information about this writer, J.B. Priestley. So today, before moving forward, take your time and go through this information, alright? Setting of the play. When we talk about the setting, it means the place, all the incidents occur. What's the place then? What's the setting of the play then? Yes, the dining room. What's that? The dining room of the Berlin's house in Bromley, when we talk about this Inspector Course, there are 3 acts, How many acts are there? There are 3 acts in this play. When we talk about that is, we can say, one of the significance of this play. All these 3 acts, they occur in one place. That's why it's mentioned as the setting. Then what's the setting? What's the place of this play, drama, and Inspector Course then? The dining room, The dining room of the Berlin's house, We are going to learn about the characters right? The characters of this play and Inspector Calls. When we talk about characterization of this play and Inspector Calls, we can divide these characters into 3 categories. Now I am giving you some information, right, which hasn't been mentioned here. Therefore, please pay enough attention, right? As I told you, we can divide these characters into 3 categories, right? Can anyone guess those 3 categories? Can't? Okay, I'll help you. The characterization like this, right? Main characters, secondary characters, and minor characters. Say after me. Main characters, secondary characters, minor characters. Okay, when we talk about main characters, what may be main characters then? Yes? Okay, you're answering well. Let's move. Yes, the Burlings, right? We can say the Burlings and Gerald Croft plus Inspector Gould, right? Then what are those main characters? Mr. Berlin, Mrs. Berlin, then Sheila Berlin, Eric Berlin, Gerald Croft. After that, Inspector Gould, right? Then count how many main characters are there? Yes, there are 6 main characters. Okay, right, let's move to that secondary character then. We can find only secondary character, that is Ava Smith. In other words, we can say Daisy Renton, right? As she can't be seen throughout the play, right, we have to consider this Ava Smith's character as a secondary character, right? What's that minor character then? Yes, Edna, the Burling's maid. Is that clear? That's how, right? That's how we can divide the characters of this play and Inspector Calls. Got it? Okay, good. Okay, we have a new slide. Now, a gathering is there. Right. When we talk about the incident, right, which goes with that page number 5 of your play, there, yes, you know that they all are in happy mode. It's because of what? Yes, because of the engagement of Sheila Berlin to Gerald Croft. When we talk about this young man, Gerald Croft, he is wealthier, right? He is wealthier than this, yes, this Berlin family. Therefore, especially we can say that Mr. Berlin, right, he is really happy about this engagement. Is that clear? Now we can see it. There's a picture of that. Okay, all are in a very happy mood, celebrating, yes, the engagement of Sheila Berlin to Gerald Croft. I think it's perfect. I'll never let it go off my sight for an instant. Whose words are these? What is like that? Yes, that is Sheila Berlin, right? As a girl being engaged, she is really happy. It's because of that she utters like this. But when we move to, right, when we move to the rest of the scenes, right, of this play, and yes, acts even, you can understand how, right, how this Sheila Berlin, she changes because of the situations of this play, right? I just gave you a hint, right? Keeping that is in your mind, right? Once you are going to read this drama, okay, you have to move forward. Is that clear? Right. Yes, now here you all can see there's a ship, then above that unsinkable, absolutely unsinkable. Yes, then as the topic I have taken dramatic irony. From this slide, right, up to another 2 slides, you are going to learn how this dramatic irony, that technique, it's used, right, in this inspector course, right, from page 5 to 9, right, as those pages, they, right, they have been prescribed. We are going to learn how this technique, right, it works there. Okay. Can anyone guess the definition of this dramatic irony? Difficult. Okay, I'll give you the answer. Dramatic irony means when the audience or reader knows something important, right? Something important which the main characters do not. Sometimes we can find only one main character. I haven't written the definition here, therefore you will have to, right? You will have to listen well. I'm going to repeat. When the audience or reader knows something important which the main characters do not. Is that clear? When we talk about this dramatic effect, taking this, right, quotation as the example, unsinkable, absolutely unsinkable, what can we guess with that? Why that writer previously he has used it? What may be the reason? We can say that, right? It's used as joke, right, with the audience to evoke humor. Okay. Then when we talk about further this, the audience knows, right? The audience knows that the character says is strong, right? Character says is strong as they are watching this at a later period after the event has taken place. Right? By the time that Mr. Berlin says this Titanic, right, it's unsinkable, absolutely unsinkable, already it has, yes, it has. Yes, now we have moved to another point where Mr. Berlin's predictions, right, have gone wrong. Mr. Berlin, right, he's confident that there will not be, right, there will not be a war, saying that, I say there is such a chance of war. The world is developing so fast that will make war impossible, right? That's what his prediction, right, about war. Is that clear? With this we can say his arrogance and complacency, right, are made very clear. The audience knowing that, right, just 2 years after his speech, World War I will begin. With that, right, audience knows that Mr. Berlin is strong on this point too, as he has done on many others. Okay, now you all have to remember his prediction about that Titanic. Right, so when we talk about his character as audience, what we can say is the audience lost trust in him as a character. Is that clear? Once you are asked to analyze the character of this Mr. Berlin, right, you should know the way you have to provide relevant facts. Okay, you have to give the relevant quotations to prove your answers. Okay, now we have moved to another point where Mr. Berlin's predictions, right, they have gone wrong. When we talk about his character as audience, what we can say is the audience lost trust in him as a character. Is that clear? Once you are asked to analyze the character of this Mr. Berlin, right, you should know the way you have to provide relevant facts. Okay, you have to give the relevant quotations to prove your answers. Got it, Pute? Okay. Yes. We have come to another point where it talks about the characteristics of this Mr. Berlin. According to him, he is a hard-headed practical man of business. With that, it's clear Mr. Berlin is driven by money. It means he is a capitalist. Once he hears the ideas of socialists, for him such kind of ideas are just nonsense. Here it's mentioned like this. Cranks talking right now, you would think everybody has to look after everybody else, as if we all mixed up together like bees in a hive. It means that when we live in a society, we can't live alone. We have to help each other. If we are rich, we have to help the poor. That's the idea of this. But Mr. Berlin, he doesn't like that. According to him, those who are rich, they have to just look after their wealth, without just helping the poor. That's why he has mentioned, community, all that nonsense. Got it? I hope you have understood it well. Yes, questions. On this slide you can see only 4 questions, but altogether you have to answer for 10 questions, right? Let's move to the questions which are on this slide. Okay. How is Eric described in the opening stage directions? How is Mrs. Berlin described there? Here there means put there in the opening stage directions, right? Okay? Right. The third question is, what is meant by Mr. Berlin is rather provincial in his speech? Fourth one, what are we told about the lighting in the opening stage directions? Let's move to the next one. Yes, on this slide up to 8, you can see 4 questions. Let's move to the 5th one first. Who could make the engagement party? What does Mr. Berlin think marriage will enable? Where is the play set? What does Arthur believe as the most important thing a businessman can protect? Yes, last 2 questions. Let's move to the 9th one. Which ship is unsinkable according to Mr. Berlin? The last one is, how does praise represent Mr. Berlin? Comment on this question referring to the pages from 5 to 9. Support your answer with quotations. You know that in this 10th question it is expected. What kind of an answer? Yes, an essay type one, an essay type answer. Therefore, I hope, you all will answer for this 10th question too, with a well organized information. Is that clear? Okay. We have come to the end of an Inspector course. Thank you. See you later.